Hey, it's Skip Slusher and Jimmy, and I want to talk about blanketing in general. Whether to blanket, whether to not blanket, there's a lot of factors, and we're going to get into some controversy now because this is something a lot of people feel very passionate about their opinion. We do blanket. We ride a lot of horses in the winter, and it takes a lot of time while they're in training when they're all haired up to cool them down. You can't get them sweaty. You can't do very much. As soon as they start to get a little bit of wet on them, you have to stop. Or it takes hours for them to cool down. And then all their hair's matted up, and that loses some of the insulating qualities. And a horse's hair does stand up from their body. If this is their body, their hair stands up. And that creates a kind of protective area that keeps them warm. And nature spent a lot of time designing them to be able to work that way. Now, there's nothing natural about a blanket, but there's nothing natural about people riding horses, and people riding horses in the winter is really unnatural. So we go with that, and I let them hair up a little bit before we start the blanket, not too much. And I just read a thing that said 54, a little slightly over half of the people with horses do blanket in the winter. And I'm assuming that's only people in cold areas. I don't think Florida has too much blanketing except for clipped horses and some of that kind of stuff. So I've talked to vets, I've talked to all kinds of people, and it comes down to sort of personal preference. So you're gonna keep your horse healthy in the winter, either through feeding it, well, you're gonna feed it. How much feed you give, you need to keep them drinking. Colic kind of comes up bigger in the winter because they don't drink enough. So you need to keep them drinking. And blanketing is sort of, to me, a personal preference thing. I mean, if there's people that do things on their horses that I really disagree with, that I think is hurting their horse, blanketing them is not one of those things. And they all seem to live through winters here in good health, in good flesh. They maintain their weight. They're not, and it gets cold here. So we do blanket all of them, and we're very quick when we put them on, very quick when we take them off. And it allows us to work through and train all the way through the winter, where you would limit their activity if they weren't blanketed. Anyway, it's a very controversial subject that I think a lot of people are going to weigh in on this video. But please subscribe.